Analysis Consortium and looking ahead at Mozambique. And we have discussed this in the past, the Cabo Delgado region. And at this point in time, there are huge concerns. There are massive concerns about the conflict and also questions about food security, which is actually getting worse, where over 300,000 people have fled their homes and villages. Jasmine, good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning and morning to your listeners.
Yes, Jasmine, we've spoken so much about this particular problem in the Cabo Delgado region, and we see the high levels of poverty, unemployment, food security issues, and yet this is now a country that is extremely rich in resources. We know about the coal mining out in the Tet region, then the ruby in the Montepes region, then many of the other areas as well, where we're talking of natural gas off the coast and the like as well, and there's just this total disconnect between having all these resources and people who are starving.
Are you
Jasmine?
still there? Are you still there? Yes, I think what we are seeing in Cabo Delgado is sadly the case of an oil curse, a resource curse, where you have these vast investments by Total, Exxon still have to decide, international companies, government siding with them in providing them with security. And for the rest of Cabo Delgado, the benefits remain questionable. We do see a major increase in internally displaced people leaving Cabo Delgado. And we are seeing insurgents yet continuing with the attacks. We had 6 attacks last week, for instance, in the Mudumbi area. We had 4 attacks in Tanzania, crossing the border. So on the one hand, you have the insurgency continuing and escalating, and on the other hand, we are seeing vast investments taking place, which could have major benefits, not only for Mozambique, but for the region. But sadly, there's a price to be paid here, and that is the people of Cabo Delgado.
I think we do have a bit of a breakdown in communication. We are going to try and get hold of Jasmine Opperman, and one of the key issues here is what benefit are all these resources to the local communities, and we find that what these projects have created is unmet economic expectations, and at the same time generating human rights violations. Jasmine, are you back with us?
I hope I'm back now. Apologies about that.
Yes, please go ahead.
What I was saying, I'm going to start again. I think, and we have spoken about this, is that we are sitting with a major contradiction in terms of massive investments in the gas industry, which could have vast economic benefits, not only for Mozambique, but for the region and South Africa specifically. But yet at the same time, we are seeing beyond these areas an insurgency, not even near defeat. We are seeing an insurgency pushing into Tanzania. We are seeing an insurgency pushing west closer to Mueda, continuing with their attacks, adjusting to their theater. And you sit with a government force simply not able to deal with the problem and being accused of gross human rights violations.
Well, certainly, Jasmine. And the other point, when we talk about this disconnect, where we see all these activities that are taking place on an economic front, and yet we find that local communities have not benefited at all. And I suppose with many people knowing that the country is so rich in resource, and when the expectations are unmet, we find a lot of other problems it's starting to create, and some of
Mm.
them being human rights violations, religious problems as well. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest problem has been the dispossession of people from the land.
That is a significant issue. And we need to keep in mind that it's being dispossessed from land. Yes, the insurgents are driving them and warning them to leave. But at the same time, the LNG companies has taken up a lot of land from the locals, and the government itself is encouraging people to leave the areas of conflict for them to execute counter-offensives. So the civilians are being forced off their land, forced out of Cabo Delgado from 3 different directions, leaving them vulnerable. And if you listen to the locals and the message they had to the President Nyusi, we don't want your money. We don't want your development. We want our land. We want our way of life. Sadly, that way of life has been lost. And with that, Cabo Delgado will never be the same again. Never be the same again.
Well, certainly. And also, I think the other critical issue here is when one looks at the strategic interests and talking about strategic interests on the part of the Mozambican government, and also at the same time, when one looks at all the other countries and companies that have now scrambled for Mozambique, the key issue here is the political elite obviously will benefit, but the danger on the other side is this will increase the conflict, and we will find a lot more groups springing up as a result of the people on the ground not benefiting from the resources.
That is, I always talk about the Iraqification of Cabo Delgado, where we have these competing interests. If you look at the Memorandum of Understanding between Total and the Mozambican government, there is a clause that allows LNG companies to provide their own physical security if government cannot do it. Now, France, because of their dominance in the area on the islands, has already legionnaires deployed on one of these islands. If something should go wrong, that they could be immediately deployed. So Total definitely representing French interests. And with Exxon, you sit with US interests at play. You sit with Qatar playing a dominant role in terms of the LNG sector because it's their main income from an economic perspective. So at the elitist level, we must also not exclude Maputo. There is definitely a war economy at play here, with officials are benefiting massively already from the LNG sector. But these benefits, like you noted, are not reaching the locals. And with that, we have seen an influx of the youth to the insurgency, joining the insurgency out of free will, and therewith strengthening what is happening within the insurgency. Mozambique, the prior has been taken. It has not been taken back by government yet. So the situation is not improving. Violence is escalating. Civilians are being killed during counter-offensive operations. And yet, we're sitting with these companies fixed on their economic interests at play. Typical Iraq situation.
Well, Jasmine, thank you very much for that. And as always, your time with us here on Salam Media. You have yourself a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you, and have a great day to you and your listeners.
Jasmine Opperman was us this morning looking at the Cabo Delgado, the conflict and the impact, the consequences, and also providing a bit of a deeper insight into understanding some of the driving factors as far as the conflict goes.
Osman's Taj Mahal Spice and Rice. For over 80 years, Osman's Taj Mahal have been perfecting the art of the perfect blend of spices, pure, aromatic, and well-seasoned. Spices to tantalize your taste buds. From creative cuisines to gastronomical gourmet goodies, from exotic odors to traditional dishes, Osman's Taj Mahal have remained synonymous with quality spices and condiments. Taj Mahal rice, beans, and lentils. Try our range of chili bite mixes, rose and ilachi syrup, our quick and easy biryani pack, and our traditional range of spice blends. Osman's Taj Mahal. There is no substitute for quality.
An act of love saves lives. Sponsor an orphan with Islamic relief and